We were just recording and we didn't realize it.
We had no idea. Back at Westchester Studios. Thrilled to be here. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
What's something that feels derogatory but isn't? An example, like a GPS interrupting the best part of the song.
That is derogatory.
No, that was a very good example.
Really good. Okay, I have one.
I don't know who wrote that in, but it was amazing.
Okay, the CAPTCHA, what's it called?
Oh my God.
That come up and it's like
the verification if you're a human or whatever.
Yeah, it's like, are you a robot? And then you have to like pick.
The worst is like, how many bicycles are in this shot?
Yeah.
Or like tires, and I'm like, okay, but if like, does a fraction of the tire count? Does the whole tire count?
Also, like, aren't you so like, for whatever reason, I'm so anxious doing
You're
that.
like, I'm not gonna pass. I'm
like,
not a human.
and they're gonna think I'm a robot. Am I a robot?
Am I not a real person?
Am I real?
That's a very good example.
Isn't that because I was because every time I have to do that, I'm all stressed out.
Yeah, that's good.
It just asks you to do it again.
Yeah.
You know, like there's no, but I'm like, oh, it's a test.
Yeah.
And like, is everyone stressed out during it?
Doesn't sound like to maybe the extreme that you are.
No, I'm like sweating.
I'm
like
not
studying.
stressed out. I'm more like, oh fuck, I don't. Why is this so hard?
I hate that. Or like if there's like a word or something, or you're like, what? And they're like, what's the word? And I like can't read all of a sudden.
What do you mean?
Do you ever see that? It's like, or it's like letters. It's not a word. It's like letters in like fuzzy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is that letter?
Who is the CAPTCHA company? They are doing so good at their jobs.
And yeah, who's coming up with this?
Yes. Oh my God, what a job.
That would be so fun.
Is that someone's specific job, or an algorithm makes that up?
I'm not sure, but do you remember those books in the 90s where you would look at it and you like had to like make
Nikki,
your
what are those called?
You had to make your
the
eyes.
magic books.
Yes.
Yes, there was something like that.
You had to make your eyes a certain way to
Yes.
like see. I could never.
It was like zoom in. Oh, the optical illusion books.
Yeah,
Yes.
I could never see it, but I always pretended like I
Yeah.
did.
Gabe, I have to readjust my back, and I'm gonna move this, and I'm sorry if that fucks it up. Here's the funny thing. I don't know when these episodes are coming out. I might have a baby, but right now I am so pregnant, and I am fucking miserable, and my back hurts. And so, if you're watching this episode and I move a lot, no, I didn't.
No, I didn't.
That never happened. I tried my best.
Just
shut up.
gaslighting them. No, I didn't.
I remember in grad school, they would be like, remember they like taught us to like about like sitting still and the like importance of like not moving around in session.
No, I don't remember that actually.
It was about you don't want to move around too much. You want to like stay still because then we could distract you to clients. I don't think those people had hips or joints.
Right.
I have to, when
You had
you're
to be
sitting,
like a statue or a robot.
when you're sitting all day seeing clients, your back hurts,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. And I think I move when I'm like thinking. I don't know, but I think like
Fascinating.
if I'm thinking, I don't know. You can tell me if you
Okay,
watch
wait.
this.
I didn't get to say my derogatory.
Oh, sorry.
one.
What's your derogatory?
Being called ma'am.
Oh, you hate that. Excuse me, ma'am. Is someone saying that to you? Who calls you ma'am?
Like literally all the time. I have a child with me. I'm pregnant. I got a child. I'm getting called ma'am a lot.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
actually fascinating because
Here you go, ma'am.
I feel like I never get called ma'am. And do you think it's because I don't have a child? Feels derogatory that no one's calling me ma'am. Feel offended.
No, I feel like you must just look younger than me.
I think they call me miss.
It's the Botox and the filler.
Wow. Listen, let me tell you something. I haven't gotten Botox in quite some time. Look at my head movement. That's why I can make so many.
You look right in the camera and do that.
See? So I think maybe
You just
it's
look younger
natural.
than me. Wow. Congratulations on being a miss and not a ma'am.
Young baby.
She is a young baby.
They say that's actually what they call me, young baby. They're like, here you go, young baby. And I'm like, thank you so much. I don't know what they're handing us. I think in my mind it's a coffee.
We were just talking about if you've never watched the show Younger, it's actually really good. But it's like the premise of the show is someone lying about their age to get a job, but like lying, like saying that they're 26 but they're in their 40s. And you were saying your dad was watching it.
Yeah, I was like, Dad, what are you, like a 20-year-old girl?
But is he loving it?
He loves it. He loves Younger.
It's a really good show.
I didn't know. I've never seen it.
Listen, here's how he feels. Like, Hilary Duff is a good actress.
I'm obsessed with Hilary Duff.
She's amazing in this show. I can't believe you would love.
Too bouncy, isn't it?
Maybe you wouldn't.
It's too bouncy. I do like Hilary Duff, though.
Yeah, and Seton Foster, the main character, is really good. Wait a second. You don't like bouncy, but you can watch reality fucking TV?
Reality TV is not bouncy.
Oh.
Period.
It's not.
No. Definitely not. It's definitely staged, but I wouldn't call it bouncy. Would you call it bouncy? Reality TV? No, not bouncy. Listen, and that's okay. That's all right.
I just want you to watch Younger.
Okay, maybe I will.
Aren't you out of shows now?
I am out of shows.
Have you watched it? It's amazing. Yeah, Nikki loved it. Gabe, you ever watch Younger? Gabe hasn't watched it. You guys could watch it together.
Gabe, what are you doing? What are you up to this weekend?
You guys can text me that. But White Lotus, White Lotus isn't done, but Severance is done.
And also, by the time this comes out, it'll all be done.
Good point. Should we talk about an actual topic, or you want to just fuck around all day?
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about an actual topic.
Okay,
or
that's
we
great.
can self-sabotage and not talk about anything. Today, we're talking about self-sabotage.
That was
Okay.
really good.
Thank you so much.
Okay, go.
Okay, I think this is a really fun fact. Okay, and I just want to put it out there. The term sabotage, the term self-sabotage originates from the word sabotage, which comes from the French sabot. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I don't know how to speak French.
I feel like sabot.
Sabot, which is wooden shoe. It was first used to describe workers who threw wooden shoes into machinery to disrupt production.
Yes.
Isn't that wild? In psychology, self-sabotage gained popularity in the 20th century with researchers like Dr. Gay Hendricks, who wrote The Big Leap, and psychoanalysts who explored unconscious fears that drive people to undermine their own success. The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, he brings up a few very interesting topics, one of them being the upper limit problem. And the upper limit problem is when things start to go too well, people often sabotage themselves because they don't believe they deserve that level of success or happiness. Another thing that Gay Hendricks talks about is hidden fears and limiting beliefs, that many self-sabotaging behaviors stem from subconscious fears, such as fear of outshining others, fear of failure, or fear of rejection. And then the other thing he talks about is the zone of genius. Encourages people to push past self-imposed limits to operate in their zone of genius where they thrive and feel the most fulfilled. So just some, fascinating little tidbits about self-sabotage, kind of where it started. I just think it's a very interesting thing. And I think it's been so popularized, like to talk, I'm self-sabotaging again. And so if you're someone who you recognize, like, yeah, I self-sabotage, or I had something really good and I push this person away and I continue to do that, right? If that's something that continually comes up for you, I wanted to do this topic for you.
Yeah. Do you think you're a self-sabotager?
No. I mean, I'm sure sometimes. Do you think I am? If I am, I'm not aware of it.
Nah.
Right?
No, I don't think you're a self-sabotager.
Right?
Yeah.
I think the only thing I do that's self-sabotaging is procrastinate. Could err on the side of ADHD. But also it works for me.
I would say my self-sabotaging is only like I go too much for dopamine, where it's like, it's like I'm gonna buy myself a little gift. And then you're like, you buy yourself a lot of little gifts. You don't stop buying yourself little gifts. Like I feel like my self-sabotaging is like
just buying tiny little gifts for yourself. What are these little gifts?
Like when you're like, man, I'm having a rough day.
Yeah.
I'm going to go see what's in my Free People cart. And should I buy any of it? And then I buy the whole cart.
Right. But you return a lot too. I've gone on a lot of return trips with you. You're great at returning.
I do like to return, but not, where I hate to return?
Where?
Amazon. So I had to stop buying anything off Amazon because I wasn't returning. But any other place I can return.
I have an Amazon thing right next to my house, so it's so easy to return.
Well, that's good for you.
But I would say, like, is that self-sabotaging? Like, maybe not, because, like, it's working,
I don't really have the money right now to be buying random shit off
Right.
of free
You
people.
did take January off of buying anything.
I did know by January, and it was fucking awesome.
Was it?
Except for the issue was I then went hard in February, March.
She was like, I gotta make up for the fact that I bought nothing in January.
So really what it was
Right.
was delayed buying January.
So it brings us into a question. How can I identify self-sabotage,
Okay.
right? It's any behavior that undermines your own success, happiness, or well-being. So that could be an example of like, is that undermining your well-being? Because like if you don't have the money and you're just buying little trinkets for yourself, it's often unconscious or subconscious to us. So it can show up as avoidance. Like if you need a job and you're not applying for jobs that you want, it can show up as perfectionism, setting impossible standards for yourself that you can never reach. Negative self-talk, saying like, I'm not good enough, so why would I even try? Right? Like that, which I think a lot of that is rooted in fear, which I think we can get to. Or self-destructive habits like overspending. Substance use, or staying in toxic situations
That's me. That is my form of self-sabotage.
is self-destructive habits. Mine's avoidance.
Yeah, no, mine's like an ADHD, like fucking let's go,
Yeah.
dopamine.
So I think, okay, but it brings up a really good point, because I think that people feel a lot of shame when they think about self-sabotage, of like, I'm doing this and I have a lot of shame around it. But once again, this is like subconscious to you. And the point of this is just to make it more conscious, so that you feel like you have more choices, right? So if I can be aware that the way in which I self-sabotage is to avoid something or to procrastinate in some way, and I can recognize, okay, this sabotages me this way. If I avoid this, then my anxiety is just going to get more intense,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm just going to worry about this. It's going to weigh on me. Recognize how the self-sabotage ends up affecting you. And that can, I think, can really help with like the shame around it, because like this is all that we all do this in different ways, right? I don't think there's one person who can say they've like never self-sabotaged before. But if you recognize you're like consistently doing it, and how it's affecting you, then you can really put some mechanisms in place to keep yourself from self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
So a good way to like identify if you self-sabotage is to ask yourself, like, am I avoiding something that I actually want? Or am I making choices that go against my long-term goals? So ask yourself some of those questions.
Well, I say I really love in ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy. There is a really great intervention you do, which is called like a values questionnaire, where like a values alignment, where you say like, well, here are my top values, but then here's like the top ways that my time is spent. Right. So people will write down like, oh, my top values are relationships and friends and mental health. But then it's like, here's where I spend my time: work, social media, blah, blah, other bullshit. Right. And so it's like, oh, okay. So actually the things I'm telling myself are my values are not aligned with what I'm doing. So I really love the idea of making something as simple as, am I making choices that go against my long-term goals? Yeah. So like, do I really need these tchotchkes? Like, do I need my little, wait, so you never actually watched Parks and Rec?
No.
So like, Treat Yourself 2011. So like, you don't actually know where Treat Yourself comes from.
No, you told me when we had that poster on our wall that said, treat yourself.
Treat yourself. Treat yourself. That's how they say
And Emmalee has really taken that to heart.
Here's the issue. I did start treating myself in 2011.
I've never stopped. She's never stopped. Also, when you say trinkets, I don't know why I'm picturing
tchotchkes, like you're
like little tchotchkes that you're like putting on your shelf.
Why would I be purchasing those?
I don't know. But
what are the trinkets I'm buying?
Jewelry.
And sunglasses.
Yeah.
It's accessories.
Yeah, accessories.
I love jewelry and sunglasses.
You also love a handbag?
I love a handbag. You got in my car today, and what'd you say to me?
I said, how beautiful your car is. What did I say? I don't know. I blacked out.
Nobody would ever say that about my car. No human with eyes. You said, I love your new sunglasses.
Oh, yeah. God, I love those sunglasses.
See? So when I say, yeah, well, trinkets for me or not, why would they be small figurines?
No, that's what I think about when I think about trinkets.
Like, yeah, like that's like a very I don't even think it's a boomer thing. I think it's the generation above boomers that had, you know, like the prescient moment figurines and like the
Yes.
little like tchotchke things.
Exactly. That's what when we say tchotchkes, that's what I associate it with.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but tchotchkes in this day and age are like big plants.
Okay. We have a problem with that. Also, spell tchotchke.
TCHOTCHKE. Is that correct?
Oh,
I wouldn't even know how to Google it.
Listen.
It's a Yiddish word, right? Is tchotchke Yiddish?
No idea, but I'm.
Suck my dick. Is it Yiddish?
I am so impressed with you.
Really?
It just feels like a really difficult word to spell.
Yeah, it's Yiddish. Dude, my mom loves Yiddish. My mom is constantly speaking Yiddish words.
Really? What other ones? Like schwitzing? I love schwitzing.
Schwitzing, yeah. But she's also always talking about, like you don't have a knipple.
Oh, knipple.
Yeah, right? Which is that, like, if you don't know what that is, it's like Jewish women used to, like, literally hide change in their stockings in case they, like, need to, like, get out of a bad situation. So my mom is, like, big on, like, women having...
Interesting, the
knipples.
stockings, though. It feels like it would, like, you know...
Does feel a little bit jangly.
Jingle jangle.
I feel a little jingle jangle.
Little jingle jangle.
My mom loves Yiddish. I feel like Yiddish words are...
They really, like, feel expressive.
They feel very expressive, but I also just feel like I grew up with them for so long.
Me
yeah,
too.
I can
Like
spell
conniption.
tchotchke.
My mom was always like, I'm going to have a conniption fit.
Yeah, right. Conniption fit. Yeah, yeah. Like, I feel like, tchotchkes is a word I can spell.
Okay.
But I love that I impressed everyone so much with that.
I'm impressed. Because, like, who knows how to spell them? Was your mom writing them down? Was she like, tchotchke, T, like you say them, but like...
When my mom was making me learn to read,
she was like,
doing it in Yiddish.
This is how you do.
But I feel like she texts me and often uses Yiddish words.
Wow. Okay, Ellen. Maybe I need to text Ellen more.
You should text my mom more. You want to know what she's in a Facebook group of the Yiddish word of the day, and she's very into it.
Okay.
And so every day she has a different Yiddish word.
Oh my God, I love that. What's today's, do you think?
I don't know. I've been with you all fucking day. I haven't spoken to my mother.
Fair. Someone wrote, is self-sabotage always obvious or can it show up in sneaky ways? How do I know if I'm doing it? It can be very sneaky. And I think it's also, as we said, very sneaky because it's subconscious to us. And I think sometimes our self-sabotaging gets reinforced, right? Like you show up with these sunglasses and I'm like, I love those sunglasses, right? Like I love them.
Well, it's also usually not this huge thing, right? Like if you self-sabotage big time, like, you know, like you walk in and you punch your boss in the face and you get fired.
And you always punch your boss in the face.
Then, like, you're probably going to notice the self-sabotaging.
Right.
But, like, for the most part, I think the majority of our self-destructive or self-sabotaging behaviors are like, a little bit small.
Yeah. Oh, and here's some good ones that are, like, very sneaky, right?
Like, I buy the sunglasses. It's not a big deal until you buy a lot of sunglasses.
Right. You're swimming in sunglasses.
Where do they all go, though?
Honestly, it's easy to lose them. But there are some very sneaky ways that it shows up, and I, like, love some of these because, you know, feel very relatable. One of them, chronic indecision, right? Because if you are chronic, if you can never make a decision, that's going to affect you eventually, right? Or if you say, like, I'll start when I have more time and you just, like, never start something, that is a way it can show up in a very sneaky way. Overcommitting.
What? Me?
So you never have time to focus on personal goals.
Shit.
Yeah. Self-handicapping, doing things that make failure more likely, like staying up late before an important event.
That's you. Don't look at me for that one.
I'm looking at you scared that you're going to look at me. That's why I was looking at you.
This is the mirror.
Exactly.
Sometimes there's like a therapeutic technique of like showing it, like putting a mirror to your clients where you like get them to see themselves.
Okay, wait, I have another one. Ready? Starting conflicts when things are going well.
I don't do that though.
Yeah. And that could be a fear of like vulnerability.
Yes.
Right? We always talk about that, like couples tend to.
Oh, wait, yeah. Okay, here's a question to ask yourself, listeners. When do you think is the most common time to have a fight?
Because we're going to tell you.
And everyone's always, Gabe, when do you think is the most common time to have a fight in your relationship?
Putting him on the spot.
What if he guesses it?
Is it like a time of day?
Yeah, sure. Time of day, day of the week. What's the most common day of the week? We'll say Mondays. Everyone always answers Mondays. Everyone always answers Mondays or Wednesdays or Sundays, like with the scaries. It's fucking Fridays when you're about to spend the weekend together. Also, getting ready for a trip together. Because it's about to be vulnerable, it's about to be intimate, and you're like, let's fuck this shit up. It's unconscious that you do it. It is not. Thank you for your participation, Gabe.
really putting him on the spot. Gabe's like, I am not doing this next week.
he's like, someone else will definitely be monitoring the video.
100%.
I quit tomorrow.
Someone wrote in, why do we hate ourselves so much?
Oh, that one was really hard to read, actually.
Yeah.
Why do you hate yourself so much?
Right. Oof. Many of us carry this internalized criticism that comes from childhood, right? It gets passed down generationally. If our parents hate themselves, right, because they learned that like they are not worthy,
or we're taught that growth comes from highly critical situations.
Yes.
Which I think was very big throughout many generations.
Yes.
Of that. Criticizing the shit out of ourselves makes you work harder.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people believe that, right?
Yes.
If I'm hard on myself, then I'm going to get this done. And I think that comes from authoritarian parenting.
Yes. Well, being hard on yourself is not the same as holding yourself accountable.
Yes.
Right? So holding yourself accountable is like, hey, I really do have a goal of being able to do 5 push-ups. And so like, I really do need to make sure I do those push-ups. That's not the same as like, you fucking lazy piece of shit, you didn't do your push-ups today. 2 very drastically different things that could result in the same goal, but feel very different.
People often believe that if I'm critical of myself, it's going to motivate me. When, in fact, it's the opposite. Self-compassion, Dr. Kristen Neff talks about this. Self-compassion is actually the most motivating thing. The kinder you are to yourself, the more understanding you are to yourself. And both things can be true, where you can be understanding and loving towards yourself, and you can hold yourself accountable. So once again, being critical towards yourself is not the same thing as holding yourself accountable. You got one?
No, I'm sorry.
I got it. Okay. Someone just said literally just any tips or tricks to help.
Listen, one of the best things you can do is name it to tame it, baby.
Yeah.
Keep this in mind for most things that you're going through. If you can name it, you can tame it. So when you start to say like, oh my God, again, right? I didn't do it again. I procrastinated so late. Now, and then I was so stressed out about it. I started a fight with my partner. I got mad at the dog for needing a walk, right? Like, hey, this is it. This is the self-sabotage.
Yeah.
And when you can name it and you can address it, first of all, you also can be easier on yourself with it.
Yes.
Which will lead to being able to have a better, more creative solution. Fuck, I did it again. I self-sabotage. Okay, what's my solution to move forward here?
Being very aware. So one thing I noticed, like at least for myself, right? So, and I think this is like a common thing that happens is like being on social media for too long before bed. Where I can say, I recognize if I am on my phone for too long, it'll be more difficult for me to sleep. That's a self-sabotaging behavior, getting sucked into social media or being on your phone for a really long time when you know that it's something that is going to affect you. If you're like, I don't really have to wake up tomorrow and this isn't really going to affect me, and okay, like maybe you aren't self-sabotaging, but if you have shit to do tomorrow and you're staying on your phone, you're letting that blue light infiltrate your brain, it's something to really hold yourself accountable for. And it's very easy to not be present when you're on social media. It's very easy to disassociate when you're on social media. And so being very present with yourself to say like, okay, is this going to help me right now or is this going to hurt me? And to ask yourself that question over and over again can help you recognize like, am I going to self-sabotage right now?
Yeah. Track your self-sabotaging triggers. So journaling or therapy can help you spot the patterns. Listen, we've said it a million times. We'll say it a million times more. Insight awareness action.
Yeah.
You have to have the insight around this to bring up the awareness when it occurs to finally have action to change it. So tracking in therapy to deal with it, if this is an ongoing thing for you, it's going to be one of the best things you can do.
Someone wrote, in what way is this protective? Can you help me to understand that piece of it? Yes, we absolutely can. Self-sabotage is actually a coping mechanism, right? It's like if we have this fear of rejection or failure, you might be saying like, okay, well, if I don't try, then I can't fail. It's the same thing with rejection, right? Like if I don't, apply for this job, then I can't get rejected. Or if I don't, hit on that person that I'm interested in, I can't get rejected.
It's a very specific example there.
But it leads to like a lot of inaction, right? And so like the inaction, yeah, it's protecting you. In your mind, it's protecting you from the possibility of failure or the possibility of rejection, but it's also keeping you from getting the things you want, from following through, from being aligned with your values, right? And so if you're always in this space of like, I'm going to avoid rejection or I'm going to avoid failure, and so I'm not going to do anything, then you're already creating it for yourself. What's the saying of like, if you don't ask, squeaky wheel? What is it? If you don't ask,
the answer is always no.
There it is. If you don't ask,
the squeaky wheel.
That's squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Yeah,
I'm combining
it's just
too.
funny that you combine. If you don't ask, the wheel's gonna squeak.
Possible.
You're a regular old mechanic.
Another way that it's a coping mechanism is like, okay, if you have this sense of like, if I succeed, then it's going to be really overwhelming to me. Like if I get this, then I'm always going to have to perform at this level, right? So success or like achieving something is really scary. I think this happens too with a lot of like students that are like really successful or like go to Ivy Leagues. There's like a lot of pressure around like you've gotten to this place and everyone gives you a lot of validation around that.
Well, like for so many people, right? You're like the top of the pool you came from, and then you enter into this other pool that everyone's the top.
Yes.
And that is a big pressure to keep up with.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, well, now I have to like perform even more. It's just like a lot of pressure that weighs down on you. Another way it's a coping mechanism is like emotional pain, right? Kind of like we said that, you get in a fight on Friday, or you're just like, I am going to push people away first so that I don't get hurt. It's like, you're in a relationship where you might start to find things wrong with someone, so that when you start getting vulnerable, you start getting close to someone, right? When the relationship starts to progress, maybe you've been on the other end of this, is, okay, because we're getting close, it's getting scarier for me to be close to you. And so I'm going to find things wrong with you and I'm going to push you away. I'm going to find things wrong with the relationship and I'm going to push you away, or I'm going to start fights and push you away. Yeah. So maybe you've been on the receiving end of that. Maybe you are the person that does that. And the coping mechanism is to try to avoid the emotional pain of being in a relationship, when in reality, pain is part of life. Failure is part of life. Rejection is part of life. All of these things are part of life. And, our attempts to avoid them keeps us from living. And leads us to this place of sabotage. Yeah.
Why do I procrastinate on things I want to do? Like, I know it would make me feel better, but I still avoid it. It's Emmalee with the gym every day. Psychologists link procrastination to emotional regulation rather than laziness, actually. We avoid tasks because of fear of failure, fear of discomfort, and dopamine sinking. So we choose short-term pleasure, like scrolling or snacking, over long-term rewards. Yeah. So but I really like this idea that like procrastination is not linked to laziness. I think so many people think it is.
Yeah.
But like for me, a lot of times procrastination is like, I like the dopamine hit that comes from doing it at the end.
And also
the pressure.
I also think like procrastination, if it has always worked for you,
is it really self-sabotage?
Like sometimes procrastination has always worked for me, at least like in school settings.
Okay, the only time it doesn't work, right, is like, we had today's recording. I probably could have printed out all the notes last night.
Right.
But instead, I was like, I'll just do it tomorrow. And then the printer got jammed. And then I am elbow deep in the asshole of a printer. Fisting this printer.
Yeah.
And I'm all of a sudden very emotionally dysregulated and crying because
who wants to fist a printer?
And like in that moment, I'm like, wow, I knew I had to sit in this recording. You know, like I had this thing all day. That could be stressful. I want to be emotionally regulated for it. I had like went to the office early, like take a walk. And so the thing is that procrastination works until it doesn't.
Yeah.
Until that's the time that life happens. And when life happens, I don't get to control that shit. That printer has fucking never once jammed.
We were also saying, we were just having this conversation. Why is it that printers
It's
are
the worst piece of technology.
only technology that hasn't progressed?
It has not improved in any fucking way. It makes no sense. Why are they still so big and so bulky? Yeah. But so that's the thing. So procrastination, it's usually not a problem. Typically, I could just go in and print out the notes until life happens. And then the question is, when life happens, then how can you handle that part?
Yeah.
And what I could have said to myself is, oh my God, I'm so lazy. I shouldn't have done this. If I had done this last night, it would have been better. This is all my fault. And instead, I was like, man, what are the chances this printer jams?
And what would have happened if you blamed yourself?
Nothing. I was already dysregulated because I'm sweating.
Would have gotten even worse.
I am
sweating.
She's sweating.
She's
okay,
sweating.
one more question, but then we have to do. Yeah, exactly. No.
Let's see. What's a good one?
Okay, how about this one?
I'm ready.
How do I stop self-sabotaging in relationships? I catch myself pushing people away, but I don't know how to stop.
Okay, the first thing I would say is like, what's the fear, right? What is the concern about if you don't self-sabotage, if you don't push the person away, what's going to happen? Bringing the underlying emotion up to the surface to recognize, like, where's that coming from for me? Do I believe that relationships are safe? Do I believe that I can create safe relationships? Where did that start for you? Like, really bringing that to the surface, I think, is like a really important piece of this. And then to say, what specifically are your self-sabotaging behaviors? When is the emotion coming up? Are there specific times in the relationship where the emotion comes up and then you resort to self-sabotaging behaviors? The reason why we say, I catch myself pushing people away, but I don't know how to stop, is because it's subconscious to you. And so making it conscious is really important so that you can figure out in the moment, this is how I stop myself. This is how I put a pause between my reactivity and like being able to slow myself down and act relationally in the relationship. The first step to that is recognizing what's underneath all of this. What's the fear? Because in the end, if you don't figure that out and you continue to act in this way, you will continue to push people away. And my guess is, because you wrote this in, is like, you want good relationships. You want to feel connected to people. And so if that's a value of yours and your actions are not aligning with your value, then you need to figure out, what's the reason why I'm self-sabotaging? Really get underneath it so that you can make a change in the moment.
Dear Emmalee and Jen.
Ready.
Hi, I'm pregnant with my first baby, and my mother-in-law is determined to throw me a baby shower, even though I've told her very nicely multiple times that I don't want one. I'm not into being the center of attention, and I hate the idea of awkward games, and honestly, I just don't want to do it. But every time I say so, she brushes it off like I don't mean it or tells me I'll change my mind. My husband is supportive, but also doesn't want to hurt her feelings. How do I get her to actually hear me without causing a family meltdown? Thank you for all you do.
You want to answer this one, you pregnant lady?
So, like, here's the thing. I think your husband has such a good point, right? He supports you, but he doesn't want to hurt her feelings. Just because someone ends up hurt does not mean you caused harm. You are allowed to say no. It is beautiful that she wants to celebrate you, right? Like, I'm sure somebody listening is like, fuck, my mother-in-law doesn't give a shit about me. I wish she wanted that. So, like, it is really beautiful. And still, then it's about her, not about you. But I'm wondering if there's some trade-off that could be offered of, you know, after the baby comes, we do something, or, you know, I'm just wondering if there is some type of compromise here, which honors maybe her transition into grandmotherhood. And maybe what that is you have like a brunch with her friends, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like a luncheon, like with her friends. And then it's like a little bit more about her and not about you. They don't have to be the center of attention, right? Like, you don't have to have a full baby shower. But I wonder if there's a way of honoring her, even just bringing that up. Like, I love that you love me. And I love that you're so excited about this baby. And still, a traditional baby shower is not what I want. But could we come up with a solution here?
Yeah.
And that is lovely that your husband agrees with you, but he needs to fucking say it too. And so it's so nice that he's so nice to his mommy. But this will be the first of many times that a boundary has to be set. And so it's important to do it now. Yeah. And if mom has a huge reaction from this, then you really know it's about her, not about you. But I'm going to give someone the benefit of the doubt and just think that they are just really excited and love you a lot.
I'll also say that I think like sometimes we set a boundary and then when someone pushes back, we don't like stick with the conversation. Totally. So like if you're saying like, oh no, I don't need that. And she's like, oh, you'll change your mind. Stick with the conversation.
Well, also when you say I don't need it, it's not the same as I don't want it.
Right. So saying like, oh, I don't want this. And they say, you'll change your mind. Stick with the conversation and say, no, I understand that like this might be something you want. I really don't want this. This has been hard for me. I don't like being the center of attention. I like stick with the conversation.
Yeah.
Don't tap out.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Shrink Chicks.
We'll see you back here next week for another session.
In the meantime, if you want a question answered or a topic discussed, follow us on Instagram at ShrinkChicks. And if you're looking to get connected with a therapist like us to start or continue your therapeutic journey, visit thetherapygroup.com. Just fill out a contact form on our website, and we will personally match you with one of our amazing therapists. And for all of our therapists and group practice owners out there, we also offer group practice consulting.
And if you're looking to support yourself further and support our show, check out our amazing merch options at shrinkchicks.com/merch and our Know Yourself, Grow Yourself journal on Amazon. Also, if you'd be so kind, we'd love a rating, review, and for you to share with a friend or an enemy or a mother-in-law, honestly, whoever needs it, so that we can keep reaching more people on our mission to bring mental health topics to your ears every week.
Thanks for being here with us, and don't forget to grow yourself. You got to know yourself.